Your father has authorized lethal force, he says, if necessary. Does that concern you?
I don't believe that that's what he said, but his primary role as commander-in-chief is obviously to protect the nation's borders. He has to protect our country's security. But lethal force in this case would, that is not, I think, something that anyone's talking about.
That was Ivanka trying to whitewash her father's comments about the use of lethal force at the border. But here's what he actually said on Thanksgiving Day.
If they have to, they're going to use lethal force. I've given the okay. Yeah, if they have to. I hope they don't have to.
But when Ivanka was corrected, here's what she had to say.
So lethal force under any circumstance would be the last resort. But he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of this country. So he always has to be able to protect the border. He's not talking about innocence. So he's not talking about innocent asylum seekers.
Does no one in this administration talk to each other? And while Ivanka may claim that her father isn't talking about innocence, about asylum seekers, the images of mothers and children escaping tear gas tell a different story. No, it's not lethal, thank God, but this administration has been falling over itself to demonize the very people that Ivanka assures us her father is protecting. The people who have ultimately ended up in cages, separated from their families, or are running away with kids barefoot and in diapers from canisters of tear gas. The people who Trump called invaders and rapists and drug dealers and dangerous, tough people. And now conservatives are cheering on the fact that the US is gassing people, asylum seekers, on the southern border. But, of course, the interview continued to go south for Ivanka.
It has come to light that early in the administration, you used your private email for White House business. Your father had taken Hillary Clinton to task for this. So how did you wind up in a similar situation?
Well, there really is no equivalency. All of my emails that relate to any form of government work, which was mainly scheduling and logistics and managing the fact that I have a home life and a work life, are all part of the public record. They're all stored on the White House system. So everything has been preserved, everything's been archived. There just is no equivalency between the two things.
But people see it as the same.
People who want to see it as the same see it as the same. But the fact is that we all have private emails and personal emails to coordinate with our family. We all receive content to those emails, and there's no prohibition from using private email as long as it's archived and as long as there's nothing in it that's classified.
But your father hammered Hillary Clinton on this, said that it was criminal, she should be locked up.
Hillary Clinton is guilty. She knows it. The FBI knows it. The people know it.
In my case, all of my emails are on the White House server. There's no intent to circumvent. And there were mass deletions after a subpoena was issued. My emails have not been deleted, nor was there anything of substance, nothing confidential that was within them. So there's no connection between the two things.
So the idea of lock her up doesn't apply to you?
No.
Here, Ivanka desperately parrots her father's talking point that there's absolutely no equivalency between her use of private email and Hillary Clinton's use of private email. Now, were the two situations exactly the same? No. But by Trump's standards, dictating that the mere fact that using a personal email address is a massive national security risk for which someone should be locked up, well, then Ivanka should be on her way to prison. What this revelation did, in effect, was prove that the whole Hillary email debacle was not so much a national security crisis as it was complete BS. But then that seems to be a common theme with this administration.